Welcome to How to Run Profitable Retreats. I am Leni Cavazos, retreat strategist and host of the show for coaches, entrepreneurs, and transformational leaders who want to design retreats that actually make money. If you've ever put your heart into a retreat only to walk away exhausted or worse, broke, you are not alone. This podcast is here to change that. Each week, I'll bring you stories, strategies, and expert insights to help you create meaningful, transformational retreats that also support your business, your lifestyle, and your bottom line. Let's make your next retreat not just powerful, but profitable. Thank you so much for being here today. I am so excited to be talking about retreats because it's one of my biggest passions. But before we even begin that conversation, I want to get a sense of the room. So if you have dreamt about hosting a retreat, right? You've seen it. Maybe you've done your meditation. Like you can feel it. You can be like, oh my gosh, we're in Costa Rica, we're in Bali, right? But you have not done it yet. I want you to type a 1 in the chat. Yeah. Now, if you have already hosted a retreat, maybe one, maybe a few, but you could have been a little bit more organized. Maybe you could have made a little bit more profit or something could be a little bit more aligned. Then I want you to type a 2 in the chat. Okay. All right, good. So we're kind of almost like 50-50 in the room. Yeah. This is, for me, it's very important because I changed the level of the talk based on the audience. But the beautiful thing also is that what I teach in the system that I'm going to talk about today for you works for people who want to host retreats and for those who have already hosted retreats, because there's always ways on how we can improve. Yeah. And we are going to be covering today the difference between hosting retreats and running a retreat business, right? So if you're dreaming of hosting a retreat, like your first retreat, this is going to show you the right way to begin. And if you already hosted retreats, this is going to show you why they maybe were not as profitable or scalable as they should have been. I'm going to ask you now again, do you believe that you can actually have a retreat that makes you money? Yes or no? Yes. Yes. Okay. Good. Yes. Okay. Oh my gosh, we have the best audience today because the reality behind the scenes is that 80% of retreat leaders do not make a profit from their retreats. All right. So in the next 20 minutes, I am going to walk you through the exact 3-part system I've used to help coaches, healers, and entrepreneurs turn their retreats into repeatable profit machines. Yeah. You're going to get the same foundation I teach inside of my upcoming masterclass, so you understand the full pathway to 6-figure retreats. And at the end, if this resonates, you'll be invited to join me on November 21st, so tomorrow, for a deeper dive where we build your retreat profit blueprint together. Yeah. And I'll just tell you very quickly about myself. And sometimes I should spend more time talking about myself, but I'm going to keep it very quick and short today. But I did not learn retreat strategy inside of the coaching world. Yeah. I learned that building high profitable event systems for Marriott and for the Ritz-Carlton and for many other event companies. My role was to create events and experiences that were beautiful, they were transformational, but also highly profitable. Not once, not sometimes, every single time. When I started consulting with retreat leaders, I realized something immediately. I mean, it took me maybe a week since I started my business to realize how you know how to create transformation. It's a given. I don't have to teach you how to change people's lives. But you were never taught how to create profit. Yeah. That's why I created a system that blends hospitality level precision with transformational leadership. So your retreat can change lives and build a sustainable business at the same time. Type a yes in the chat if you would like to have this system. Okay. Yes, we got a one. Like, a yes. We have yes, yes, yes. Okay, perfect. You are in the right room today. Isn't that amazing? Now, let's talk just for a second. And this is not meant to be a sub story or anything like that, but we want to talk about why most retreats fail financially so we can avoid that. Yeah. The thing is, retreats are built backwards. People pick a location first. They're like, oh my gosh, I really want to do it in this amazing castle. They pick a date. They're like, oh my gosh, it would be amazing if it was the 1st of January. They plan an itinerary. They go into the depths and details and spend all their time planning the perfect itinerary. They set a price based on feelings, or my favorite, based on angel numbers. Oh my gosh, if I put 4, everyone is going to buy. And it's not true. And the last one, but not least, is people pray it sells. And how this looks like in this space is I'm going to sit down and I'm going to meditate and I'm going to attract those clients. And I'm not saying it does not work, but it needs to be comprised with action. Yeah, it needs to work with action. So if I sit down and I meditate, and I never tell anyone that I actually have a retreat, no one is going to show up. It doesn't matter if you spend 4 hours a day meditating. It's not going to work, right? Now, profitable retreats start before all of that, right? Profit needs to be designed first, or it will never show up at the end. Because profit is not just a nice thing to have in my retreat business. It's a necessity. Because if you don't have profitable businesses, forget about it, even if it's from the space of retreats or not. You are going to have to quit. That's it. You're going to have to quit. Now, I'm going to teach you the system very, very quickly because these will change the way you have been seeing your retreats forever. Yeah. Because you do not want to be planning a retreat. You want to be designing a business asset. I know your heart is probably setting it up. I'm like, oh no, Leni is pushing me. I don't want my retreats to be a business. I want my retreats to be this beautiful space where people come and change their lives and it's just very, very happy. And I do not want to sell. I do not want to have to charge the price that it's supposed to be. But the truth is, yes, Christy, it can be both. Your retreats are a business asset. They're part of your business. Even charities need to make profit. Yeah, nonprofits need to make profit in order to be running. Now, this is a mistake most of retreat leaders make. They design an experience. Remember, I spoke about creating this beautiful itinerary, not a business model. Designing for profits means defining the transformation. Yes, people do need to change their life when they come to a retreat. That's the whole purpose of a retreat. Structuring the guest journey, making sure the retreat fits your offer ecosystem. This is the most important, right? It needs to make sure that it fits everything. So if your main services for your business are meant for retreats for cats. I love that example, right? Yoga with cats. But then your retreat is for people who have dogs and hate yoga. Your offer does not fit your offer ecosystem. Yeah. You want to identify your revenue opportunities and you want to understand your capacity, your timing, the demand. What we're doing is we're planning, I call it reverse engineering. We design everything for profit. So we start with profit first, and then everything else trickles down. How much money do I want to make in my retreat business per year, right? And this, we go definitely deeper inside of the masterclass. But how much deeper do I want, like how much money do I want to make per year for my retreat business? And how could I actually achieve those results? The beautiful thing here is that when you design for profit first, your retreats become predictable, repeatable, and scalable. Type a one in the chat if you are ready to do a profit first business model for your retreats. Yes, Paige. Yes, Tammy. Profit first. Yes, yes. Okay. Where is everyone else? Yes, Mariana. If you do not want to do it, also tell me no. It's okay. The thing here is that your retreat is not just an event. It's a revenue strategy. Now, we're going to be talking about pricing for profit, yes? So this is where most retreat leaders actually lose thousands, sometimes tens of thousands, yeah? Yeah, you need your whole business to be profitable, 100%. Pricing is not about picking a number that feels first. Listen to that. Pricing is not about picking a number that feels fair. Pricing is a formula. Yeah. Pricing is a formula. It's not about like, oh, I think my people could pay this amount of money, so I'm going to price it in that price point. Inside the pricing process, you need to find out your minimum viable profit, your real cost per guest, your break-even point. Your profit floor is one of my favorites. If I do not make this amount of money, I do not run the retreat. Your pricing tiers. It's not just one full price for your whole 1 year of promotion. Your upsell structure and your capacity strategy. How many can you actually people host in a retreat and still create and provide the transformation? You need to know exactly how much you will earn before you book your venue, before you announce any dates, and before you sell a single spot. I had a couple of the ladies that came to the workshop that we did in Las Vegas. We just had our call about profitability and, reviewing their numbers. And I looked at the numbers and they gave me their costs and they gave them their early bird. And I looked at the numbers. I said, like, well, I have a lot of questions, but the first one is, why are you losing $500 per person every time you sell a ticket? Why, when you have your amount of people that you want to have to come, if you split it, it's higher than your early bird price? They already sold 3 tickets. They lost. Now they have to compensate $1,500 because pricing problems. Yeah. So it's very, very important, because if you do not price for profit, you're building a retreat that drains your business instead of building it. Putting retreats together and events, it's a lot of work. You need to be compensated for it because people need you. Yeah. Now we're going to talk about part 3, that is selling for profit. Because selling is not just about marketing, it's about leadership, it's about clarity. Most retreat leaders try to sell through hype. My gosh, we're going to Bali. Ah, this is hype, okay? Hope. I'm going to hope people I'm going to just go and post on 3,000 Facebook groups and hope that people are interested. Or emotion. Oh my gosh, this is the best thing ever. Everyone needs to come. And they don't even know how to pitch. And they just think because they're so passionate about it, people will just come and buy. Have you ever been like that? Have you ever been like, oh my gosh, it's normal. I've done it too, yeah? High-level clients do not buy the hype. They don't buy the hope. They don't buy the emotion, really. They buy the outcomes. Selling for profit means positioning the transformation clearly. People need to know exactly why they want to come to your retreat and not another of the 3,000 other retreats out there. There's so many retreats out there. There's not an overflow. It's just everyone is selling to the same people. That's a different problem. You want to speak about the identity shift. You want to build a launch runway. You want to create an aligned desire. You need to understand the retreat psychology of the buyer. And you need to have a sales sequence that builds trust, not pressure. The process of selling retreat tickets is a little bit longer sometimes than selling an online course. Yeah. Your retreat should fail because your positioning is aligned, not because you're pushing harder and just pushing for people to come. Selling for profit will turn your retreat from stressful to predictable. Type I one in the chat if you want predictable profit in your business. Yes, okay, good. When we do not have a system for our retreats, there are some reasons why they fail. Yeah. If they were designed from emotions only, they were priced without strategy. Mariana, I have to tell you, a lot of people do not say, of course. You're in the 10%. They were sold without a conversion plan. The leader carried the event instead of the process. This is a little bit more complex, but you're just focusing on the actual execution of the event, but the marketing and sales process of like seeing it like a business. Yeah. There's no back end, right? So no upsells. The numbers never match the transformation. So we can talk about this a little bit more later in one of our sessions, but the numbers need to match the transformation. Yeah. And there was no business model at all. I get so like passionate about this because transformation without a profit is not sustainable. It's just not. Yeah. Your mission deserves a business model that supports it. Now, I want you to, for just 1 second, to imagine yourself hosting a retreat where you know the profit before the planning, right? So whatever numbers comes to your head, 10,000, 15,000, 20,000, 100,000, $1 million. And where the value matches the price, where the audience feels led, supported, and excited to invest. And now I want you to just take a jump in the timeline and imagine having those retreats year after year with ease, clarity, and confidence. This is not a fantasy. This is your future life if you want it. Because if you follow a profit system instead of guessing, your life will change. Yeah. Now, I wanted to leave you just with this one thing. Your retreat can change lives. That's a given. But let's make sure it also changes yours.